I was a really shy kid, and I ended up being freaking ASU vice president. I could not have thought of that. Just try everything, and you never know where your heart's gonna go, because like I play ultimate frisbee now. Like, what the hell is going on? So just try different clubs. Just see where your heart goes.
Welcome back to another installment of the High School Perspective. Thanks to Ryan for the intro and outro music in this video. Today's topic of discussion is seniors. You guys are all seniors in high school. Oh, you guys should introduce yourselves, by the way. I was completely rude not to do that.
Oh, yeah. Hi, my name is Theo.
Hi, I'm Darsh Garwal.
I'm Russell. Never seen.
So I guess to explain more about what the topic of discussion is, you guys are seniors, but this is your last year of high school. So I wanted to talk to you guys about how your last year was and your opinion on the cancellation of school at the end of high school. So the first question, you can choose how to answer this because this is kind of like a yes or no question, or you could expand on it. Did you guys enjoy your last year of high school?
Yes.
Yes, most definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah, I did, definitely, but I was obviously expecting more until coronavirus happened. But I'm still thankful for everything that all the memories I got to share with my friends.
Yeah.
I really did. I think that I've been waiting for this since freshman year, like most high schoolers, and I think it came through. I love how we broke the most bleachers.
Yeah, I just think because we've been a pretty legendary class. I mean, it had to evolve as we went through freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year. But I think this year was definitely our peak, and sharing that with the whole class just made it a lot better.
Yeah.
Watching the seniors last year and seeing their hype level, and then we came out with our hype level, I think that I was satisfied.
I would have to agree
no
with
shade,
that.
But
the
number of benches broken at homecoming games, the number of people crying after homecoming ended, that really showed.
Oh my God, homecoming!
Yeah. I think part of the reason why homecoming means so much to the seniors in your class, but you guys specifically is for those that don't know, you guys are all involved in leadership. So can you explain your leadership job throughout the years and your biggest contribution to the school this year?
Well, this year I was senior class vice president. So basically, in charge of all the senior activities from homecoming to the senior sunrise that I helped plan with Darsh. And then this year I actually started a new event, the chalk decorating event for the parking spots for the seniors. I mean, I wanted to do it again during the spring semester, but I mean, obviously it was canceled. But I just thought that being an officer actually helped me this year understand a lot about my class and how we function as a whole, and that just made it a lot better, honestly.
Nice.
I was the ASB treasurer this year, and so not a lot of people know what the treasurer does, but I kind of work in the background, behind the scenes kind of thing, because if your club or sport wanted money, I had to sign off on it first, and I had to keep track of all the school's expenditures.
Right, yeah.
So not a lot of people see that. But before I was ASB treasurer, I was the business manager commissioner for my sophomore and junior year. And so, the student store where you buy all the homecoming tickets and, and stuff. Yeah, that was my job, just keeping that organized and everything.
So I was in leadership since freshman year. I started out being freshman and sophomore vice president. So freshman year, honestly, my main job was just to learn and just kind of taking all the roles of being a general officer, doing fundraisers. It's our first year doing homecoming, and we're just kind of at the front of the threshold and coming into high school. And then sophomore year is just those main officer activities again, homecoming and fundraisers. Then junior year, I was president, and then in addition to other stuff, we had to plan out prom. So that was my first big like solo officer event. And then senior year, I was ASB vice president. Before I came in, there was like definitely the ASB vice president was a job that didn't have a lot of tasks. It was mainly Trojans, which is like when we played music in the quad. But that was also like run by the admin assistant commissioners. It wasn't really the ASB vice president's job. But then this year I really wanted to expand on it, and I started reaching out to like the admin and helping them out. And I kind of became the link between the counselors and leadership, and also planned to help the senior officers with their help. We planned out the parking spot decorating event, and also senior sunrise. And we're gonna do senior sunset. It might be like way later in the summer this year, but we'll see. So yeah,
Nice.
and also advising the entire class overall.
Right,
That's ASP's job.
Yeah. ASB, for you guys, I feel like that's always been like the top of like the school and like leadership, right? Because you guys kind of run the class too, right? Like Maloney's just kind of like there to like advise, and that's really cool.
Yeah.
So one thing that I think is a bit controversial is the leadership, like the actual class. Some people think it's corrupt. Why do you think people think this?
I think it's just a running joke, but like we go along with it. I think it's funny.
Okay.
I think it's good. You should always question authority.
Yeah. I mean, no, I feel like whenever you ask people for like proof, like why is it corrupt? Like they don't have like or like, because like it has been a running joke that who started it? I don't know. Someone started it, but like go along, like it doesn't really.
Yeah, it's been here since like before my freshman year. I think it started the year before we came in, and it's still been running. And I mean, being in leadership, you have your perks, and I think
same goes with like a lot of
they're
classes.
not that bad. Like, it's not like we don't steal your money or something. It's just like it helps you build more connections, and I think it's just a part of being in it.
Yeah.
Not to throw shade, but like if you want to look for a corrupt club, just like go to DECA.
Oh wow.
It's expensive. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh.
But it teaches you a lot. We are a bunch of capitalists, but
yeah, because you're involved with DECA, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't an officer or anything, but I was a member for 2 years in DECA, and it no matter what profession you're gonna go into, even if it's like not business related, like you learn a lot and it's fun, but it's expensive.
Can you guys explain what clubs you've done in high school?
So since my freshman year, I've been in Interact Club because of the wonderful Simone True, who was also in, she's 2 years older than me, and she was the ASB vice president too, where Darsh was. And she got me to join Interact, and then I was an officer. I was a treasurer for junior year and senior year, and it's my favorite club on campus. I think that they do a lot of good in the world because it's not just like local. It's like Key Club and other clubs that are. How do you explain it? We have a whole district 5170, and so there's a bunch of Interact clubs, and we're all working together to raise money for this international project.
Wow, that's pretty big.
I back Russell up with that. I'm also an Interact, and like you don't really realize the impact you make on like these like small school clubs until like you like dig deeper into it. And then when we went to this year's fall leadership conference, it was like all of the Interact clubs from like the Bay Area in one giant like gym, and like they were basically just like explaining to us like how we're helping these kids in like these third world countries like gain school supplies and gain all these like things that they need. And it just like helps you understand like why you're doing what you're doing, and that's why I've stayed in Interact for like 3 years now.
The biggest thing that I've learned from Interact Club and from FLC is that as one person, like in a high school, there's not much that we can do. But then when I joined the club, and then you see that your club is part of a much bigger organization that's helping out to support this international project that we have, then we actually do make a difference in the world. And that like it's not just because like it's not just because you're one person doesn't mean you can't make a change.
Yeah.
Hmm. So before I talk about my other clubs, I'll talk about Interact too. I think one of my biggest regrets was not being more involved in it because I was part of CSF for a while, but it's a great club as well. It does a lot of community service, but Interact, I love its social aspect as well. Like I feel like whenever you go to Interact events, you're having a lot more fun while doing it, and you build a lot more bonds. And yeah, so I wish I was more involved in that. Other than that, like I said, I'm in DECA. You know, you learn a lot. You make a lot of friends, and it's also that's also where you go to like a big conference. There's one for just NorCal and one for the entire state. And it's like a really big conference. You dress in suits and everything, and it's a lot of fun. And you just learn like basic presentation and like skills. And obviously, I'm also in Club Ultimate Wild Wombats since freshman year. It's been the club I was most involved in. You know, not just like playing frisbee, also like making friends. And as you go into the officer board, like me and you did, you start to become like the captain and coach and everything. And it's just seeing the people grow like with you, like the people that you're training. It's really worth it.
Yeah.
And that's been the biggest thing in that club. Yeah.
Nice. So I've mentioned that you guys are all in leadership and you've kind of explained your roles. But I guess this could be outside of leadership too. What was your guys' like personal biggest contribution to the school?
That's a great question. I think through all the organizations I was involved in, like mainly clubs and also leadership, like working with a lot of people that are younger than me mostly. So when I was younger, I know my seniors and people older than me, they helped me out a lot and mentored me and pulled me up with them, taught me skills and just build bonds with them. And also I've been able to do that with juniors and like younger people than me and just helping them out, get involved in high school and, you know, be better versions of themselves. I think that's been my biggest accomplishment.
That's like exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can go. Because when I was a freshman and sophomore, and I would always look up to Simone True and my sisters, and like I would always see the seniors as like, oh wow, they're so old and like they know exactly what they're doing. They're gonna go do stuff like that's scary. But then like once you get to that position, then you're like, oh, like they didn't actually know what they were doing, but like their confidence kind of gives that impression. And they were just such an inspiration to me that like this year I've been trying to be that same inspiration to other people. So I think that's the biggest contribution that we've had.
Yeah. Like one thing that comes to mind, especially like it's not a part of leadership, but like Link Crew, like being a part of Link Crew, like helping out the freshmen discover like new things, like because I remember being a freshman, like everyone who's a freshman is scared of high school. Like you hear all these stories like, oh, watch out for this, watch out for that. I mean, yes, they do exist, but it's better to help them transition smoothly than like, you know, like telling them, oh, you have a rough road ahead. And I think that's just like one of the biggest things that I've done in high school. Like it made me feel really accomplished to be like that person that like my freshmen still talk to me and I can like talk to them like saying, this is what you should do. Like just like giving them advice and stuff like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are great answers. I didn't realize how, I guess like how much involvement that you guys had besides leadership. So that's really cool to hear. So I guess moving away from like the accomplishments and that sort of topic, I think something that a lot of people have been wondering, including myself, is how seniors feel about COVID-19 and how it's stopped this school year for you guys. Darsh is ready to throw hands. So yeah, just the question is, how did you guys feel about the cancellation of school?
I mean, honestly, since school got canceled, there's been like nonstop like chatter about it. Like, is prom gonna get canceled? Is graduation still happening? Like all these like major events that seniors look forward to all year. And honestly, like as like being a part of leadership, you would think that we would know these kinds of things, but still like we don't. Like we try to like make things happen to like go in place of these, but it's a very I've heard this word a lot, like unprecedented. Like I've heard this word so many times during quarantine, and it's true, like unprecedented. Like you don't know what's going to happen, you don't know what to expect. Like is it going to get better, is it going to get worse? Like people say, oh, this is the peak. Like you honestly, we can't tell. And since we can't tell that, it's just there's a lot of uncertainty between especially the seniors, because like we don't know exactly what's going to happen.
I don't even think admin knows what's gonna happen, so like we won't know what's gonna happen either. When I first heard it, obviously like I was sad and like a senior year was canceled. You don't get to do any of these fun things. But now that like I know that senior year isn't here anymore and that it's gonna go into summer and then college, like I've kind of just come to the fact that high school's over. And so now I'm actually really looking forward to going to college. I've been so hyped, like I'm about to commit. And I've been talking to other people who are going to commit to, and I'm just really excited.
Yeah, exactly what Russell said. I kind of also accept the fact that high school's over, and it's kind of sad because like especially that last part of senior year, like we've been looking forward to that since freshman year, and just kind of gets taken away. And I guess there is something to learn as well. Like we kind of might have taken this stuff for granted, like we were looking forward to it. But it can just got taken away like that. And, like once it gets taken away, that's mainly when you realize how much how much senior year meant to you. Even like even if prom, graduation weren't a thing in the first place, just like being at school. We always say like, oh, I hate school and stuff, but like all like homework stuff, all the stuff you hate about school, it's always worth like all the relationships you build and just hanging out with your friends.
Yeah.
And like all of that being taken away just makes you realize like how good it was. But then again, yeah, I am really looking forward to college because I'm bored.
I've been looking forward to graduation this like entire year, and I've just been dying to like get out of high school ever since like the start of high school. And so now that like it is actually come, I feel like it's just like an early parting gift. Like I'm like out now. I don't have to do anything.
Yeah. Well, that was pretty much my next question. You guys mentioned applying to college and being excited about it. So where are you guys committed to, or if you are committed, and what was the process like for applying to colleges?
Okay, well, I'll go first.
Okay.
I'll start with the second question. Applying to college is a very I don't know the word for it. Like it's not hard. It's just
Stressful.
it's
It's like
annoying, but like you have to do it, and that's why it's annoying. Like,
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you have to like dig really deep into like what you believe in, like your thoughts, to like write these essays, like talk about yourself. Like me personally, I hate talking about myself. Like it's like really hard to do, especially if you're trying to do it in like a fancy format. And I mean, everyone who's applied for college can like back me up on that. And but once you're actually done, it's like the biggest sigh of relief, because like you're done, like you have nothing else to do. Like but then that waiting period, like from November to like March, is like this like another one of the most stressful times you can have. And yeah, first question, I am committed to Long Beach State University. Yay, woo. It's Cal State down in Long Beach, and I'm going to be majoring in communications and possibly minoring in political science.
Oh, wow.
okay.
All right.
So
Yeah.
I started my college applications pretty late. I basically started them in November, like 2 weeks before they were due.
Oh, God.
Highly recommend. Don't do that. It's the most stressful 2 weeks of my life. It was literal trash. Like it was the worst. And so I'm gonna commit to UC Irvine, and I'm gonna major in applied mathematics. But I haven't committed just yet because my family was like, just wait, because like the deposit that you have to make when you commit, like Fullerton sent out this like email saying that they're giving a discount because of COVID.
Oh yeah.
And so they were like, just like hold on, you might get a discount. And so that's why I haven't committed yet. But I'm going to, and I'm really excited. Dot dot.
All right, I'll go next.
Here's the last one.
So answering the second part, I'll start with that as well. So, like Russell said, start right now, please, because since college app, it's something that you can't just BS. It's something that you have to like put in all your hard work and thought. It's what everything that you've done so far just comes down to. So that's why you need to start early. It's something that like you can't just do it the night before, and you have to like the best part that you're gonna put into your college apps. It comes to you when you're just chilling there and you're like kind of thinking about it with all the time that you have. It's not gonna come to you when you're stressed out. And that's why I made like a 6-page college app advice doc that will be down in the description of this video, guys.
I was yeah.
So that's my college app advice. I'm gonna look at that. And answering the first part, I'll be going to MIT next. So
Please take Darsh's advice. He had amazing college apps. He got into MIT.
What a guy. I know, that's pretty crazy.
What a guy.
Okay, let's go to.
oh wait, can I add something?
Yeah.
Don't have a dream college because that makes you really sad, and also really lower your expectations. I think this that helps you out with like even if you get good news or bad news, it like helps you deal with that and makes good news even better, and it helps you deal with bad news. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anything else on the question?
I'm just gonna back the two of them up, saying you need to start your college apps really early. It really helps if you do like even like read over the questions, know what you're gonna talk about, because I mean, some of you, like a bunch of you, are not gonna take that advice, but the people who do pick it up, it's gonna be a lot of help. Yeah.
What do you guys think is the most important part when applying to college?
I would say try not to like write about what they think they like. You need to really like write down things that matter to you most personally, and they have to be personal. You have to write about like moments that like changed you as a person instead of just like writing about your like trip to Costa Rica or something. But yeah, so try not to be basic. Like really think about moments that change your life, and also don't ignore the activity like where you list your extracurricular activities. That's like more important than you guys think, because everything that you're gonna write in your college app saying, "Oh, I'm a good leader and I'm a like good student," everything. Your extracurricular activities and their descriptions, they're the evidence to that like kind of claim. So yeah, don't undercut those.
I would say in the essays, don't be afraid to get emotional. Like, I feel like the more emotional you are, the better, because it shows that like you're human and you have character, and that you're not just a robot going through AP classes.
Yeah, I was crying in half of my.
It's just like look for what makes you unique. Like
Yes, dude.
like what makes you you, like, because everyone's like, I was reading Darsh's college app advice thing. A bunch of people took a trip to like some South American country and helped the kids like build schools and stuff, but like everyone might have taken the same thing from that experience, but what makes you unique? What did you take, and what did it change about your life rather than someone else's?
Do you guys have any regrets from high school? Like this can expand to really anywhere in school. Yeah.
I regret not getting my license as soon as possible.
Okay.
Get your license whenever, as soon as you can. Just do it. Do driver's ed. Like take the course. Just do it.
I can't do it yet. I can't.
There's another. It's like a source of freedom. Like once you finally have your license, it's another form of freedom. It's just amazing. That's it.
I imagine you have it now.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Something I regret is, so first I'll talk about academically. choosing like Hamlet because it was an honors class over Afrocentric, and that just goes in general, like choosing classes because of like GPA boost or whatever instead of the classes that you're actually like interested in. Um, like Afrocentric, it's honors now, but even if it wasn't, if I could go back, I would change it to that just because like it has great teachers obviously, and also I think the perspective from that class, I would have really enjoyed it a lot more than just Hamlet and regular U.S. history. Um, Other than that, outside of that, I regret not being more active in Interact, and uh, I've been pretty good with this, but like I could have done this more. Just like doing the things I love more than what I thought would like look good. Yeah.
I think okay. I think I have two regrets in my whole. I probably have more, but like I can think of two right now. And they're like the biggest ones. First one is my whole freshman year. Like my whole freshman year, just it was just like blah. Like that's what it was. Like I was that freshman who was like, this doesn't matter. I don't care. Like I didn't participate in homecoming. Like that like day the Friday of like the assembly and the parade, like how
Right.
we get out early.
Yeah.
I was one of the people who took that as like, oh yay, we get out early. So then I went home, and not realizing how much fun it actually is. And I feel like a bunch of freshmen make that mistake every year, and that's why I try to get as many freshmen to participate in homecoming, because that is one of my biggest regrets. Um, my other regret is dropping a push. I dropped a push the summer. Like I did like half the summer homework, and then I dropped it because I was like, I don't think I can do this. Like I'm taking honors physics. That's another one of my biggest regrets. Taking honors physics. See, I should have switched. Like I should have dropped honors physics and taken a push, because the whole reason why I wanted to take a push is because of my love for like history, and I love history. And remember, like till today, I still help out like a bunch of people with like history, and like I still remember all the stuff. And I just thought like till today, I'm like I could have definitely done it. I could have definitely pushed myself, but hey, get it, a push anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are my three biggest regrets.
This isn't really a regret, but it was almost a regret. My freshman year, Simone True, she always comes up. She convinced me to apply for leadership because she really thought that it would be good for me. And I really didn't want to do that. The main reason was because I didn't want to take a zero period, which looking back on it, like that was stupid. Like zero period is nothing compared to like the benefits that I got from leadership. And and I didn't think that I would be like right for leadership because I didn't think I was like outgoing. I didn't think like I would fit in. But that was almost one of my biggest regrets because I did apply, I got in, and I don't know what I would have done if I didn't do that. And so it's like, even if it doesn't seem like the right path for you, like you really never know.
This is my story with CSF. It's a great club, but I ended up quitting it junior year, and I was like an officer. I could have run for president of that club, but it's just something that I didn't like. I fit in exactly since freshman year, and I could tell like I had a lot of friends in it and everything, but it just wasn't a club for me. And I waited like 3 years to kind of realize how I could be putting my time somewhere else where I belong a little more. Just like stuff like Interact. But yeah, so just go with your heart a little more.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to follow your heart, not your brain. That's another lesson.
That's literally the number one advice I give to like a lot of people, because it works.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
If you're doing any activity and you don't have like passion for it, you're not like gonna do well in it anyway, even if you think it's gonna look better. Like I would rather do an activity with like, even though it's like a not as great looking like college activity, like with full passion, rather than do like a good activity with like, even though I'm not liking it.
Yeah.
I wrote like a whole essay on the importance of having passion for something that you do. For Interact or something, I forget what it was. Yeah, passion is really important. that's also one of the reasons why I got into leadership the first year. Because in my interview that you had to take, do you remember that one question at the very end where it's like, if you were offered one of the positions outside of your top 3 positions for commissioner, would you take it or not? And like everyone always says yes, but then I said no, and they were like, "What? Why?" And I was like, because if I don't have a passion for what I'm doing in leadership, then like I won't do it to like its fullest ability, and I wouldn't want to take a 0 period, spend this much time, dedicate all my life to leadership if I'm not doing something that I'm passionate about and that I love.
Yeah, I think that rings true for a lot of people. Like, because you can't be good at everything, right? So when there's something that like you don't want to do, but like they recommend it for you, but like you personally don't feel that way, I guess it's like if you think that like you'll drag the class down, or you think that there's just somebody else that could do the job better, then yeah, I totally agree with that. I didn't say no. I was scared. I was afraid.
The next year I interviewed again and they asked me the same question. I said yes, that I would take it. And they're like, well, last year you said no. Why'd you change your mind? And then I was like, I realized that leadership is way more of a family, and the roles don't define what you have to do in leadership, and it doesn't set any boundaries for what you can do, and that you can work together, and like it's cool.
Nice.
And so I learned from that year.
Okay, so let's go to for me, I'm a junior, so I'm gonna need this someday. I think you guys have kind of given some general advice, but what do you guys like? What's the advice you have for somebody entering senior year?
Okay, I'll go.
You know what? Let's go to my senior advice.
My advice to someone going into senior year. Okay, I think that especially now that, because like you never know what'll happen. I mean, I'm not saying that this is gonna happen again. It should never happen again. But just don't. You're still gonna have that junior brain, right? You're still gonna have that grind brain coming into senior year, and that was me till like November, December, and then that's when like the senioritis hit. But just try to enjoy everything because it's your last year. Like, make more friends, make new friends. Like, just honestly, make sure that you know who you stick to, and just stay true to yourself. Don't change any more than you already have, because I feel like you have changed a lot throughout high school. Just like stay true to who you are. That's my advice.
My advice for seniors, I think first semester, obviously, like you should focus on college apps, and that's the main reason why we're telling you to start early, is so your senior year isn't hell, so you can spread it out a little more. But yeah, like I think what you're gonna remember most of the time is the little things. Like for how I think of it is, a lot of the time, like you remember how you were like feeling around your friends. You don't like exactly remember the joke, but you remember laughing. And it's just little stuff like that, and just be grateful for all of that. Because I know I was, because everyone's like in leadership, when seniors leave, they give you advice, and they always tell you to be grateful, and I have been. So I think that helped me be okay with like senior year ending a lot. It made it a lot easier. And also just enjoy it. Yeah, you don't have that much left, but yeah, just make memories. Yeah, don't try to work hard too much sometimes. Yeah.
But to quote Sam Levine, enjoy your education because it's not forever. But my biggest advice is basically just to treat everyone with kindness. Like, just it's not worth it to be mean, because like you don't know what shit someone else is going through, or like how their day is going, or what's going on in their life. And you don't know if like just one rude comment can make or break their day. And so it's just always easier to be nice and like possibly uplift someone and bring like a tiny shed of light into their day rather than destroying it.
Yeah.
So.
Nice.
I have one more.
Yeah.
I made a list, or I was going to make a list for my senior advice, because like Darsh said, everyone or every senior in leadership gives senior advice at the end of the year, and I made a list. There's one thing on that list, because I think it's pretty like, yeah. It says, surround yourself with people that make your day decent and livable. And like what I mean by that is like, just like what Russell said, be nice to everyone. Like, people who will make you feel good and will make you feel at least decent. They don't have to like make you feel like the king of the world, but if you can wake up like one day and be like, okay, I'm waking up because I can see this person, surround yourself with that people, like with that type of person. Like that just makes life better that way.
Another thing, this actually came from Simone True. This was one of her senior advices, and I think it was the best one. There's this TED Talk that you should watch. It's a TED Talk about resume virtues versus eulogy virtues. And so the difference between a resume virtue and a eulogy virtue is a resume virtue is something that you put on your resume for people to see, like your achievements and that kind of stuff, like your work ethic, what you've achieved in high school and college.
Yeah.
You like a desired employee or whatever. And a eulogy virtue is something that someone will say at your funeral after you die, and like what will you be remembered by. And so basically, like in high school, teachers, friends, like parents, like they hammer in, you need to get to a good college, you need to like do all this stuff in high school so then you can have like such a good resume, so then when you're out of college you get a good job and have a successful life. But life isn't always about money and getting a good job, because it's, or in my opinion, it's more about like how you affect the people around you and what kind of impact you make on other people's lives. And that will be remembered in your eulogy virtues rather than your resume virtues. And so basically just try to focus more on your eulogy virtues, or at least like pay a little bit more attention to that, because while high school may seem like only about resume virtues, it's not all about resume virtues.
I want to add another thing, because since it is your senior year, I've personally never had any like drama in high school or grudges, but it's your last year. You don't want to leave high school with like broken relationships with people. It's your like last chance to kind of mend it, and just it's okay to like be the first person to say sorry if you had like an argument with someone. Just leave with positivity. Yeah.
I wrote down in my notes of senior advice, the very last thing I said was 10-second rule, but I honestly forget what that 10-second rule was about.
What's your interpretation of it now?
Yeah. Now,
I think you told me about this. I'm trying to remember it too.
Yeah, I think it's like wait 10 seconds.
Wait 10 seconds, see if you're still upset or something like that. Or like, I don't know.
I forget for a reason, but
Oh, also, Russell, I know you have this other 5-year rule thing. Like when you don't want to do something, think of yourself in 5 years. Are you gonna be like thankful that you did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another one of Russell's things.
Nice.
5-year rule.
So that's all advice for people that are about to be seniors, right?
Yeah.
So what is your guys' advice for someone coming into high school, like about to be a freshman?
So the thing that my brother told me, this was in my senior advice. It's actually what Darsh already said, but I'm gonna quote him. He said, "People don't remember what you say or what you do; they remember how you make them feel." And that's why I joined Interact, and that's why I was like outgoing, and I did homecoming and everything, because like everyone around me, like it felt uplifting. And like, I don't remember a lot from freshman year, but I remember how I felt. So,
Okay. I think a piece of advice I could give to like incoming people to high school is it's totally fine if you don't know what you want to do in life. Like there's like I feel like there's so much built-in pressure going into high school. Like you need to take this class because you're gonna do this in college. You need to take this class because you're gonna do this in life. Like no. Like I feel like high school is that time where you figure out what you actually want to do in life. And like for example, for me, like most of my high school life, I thought I wanted to be like an aerospace engineer, and I took honors physics, like I said, and I was like, okay, yeah, this isn't for me. And you discover a lot about yourself in high school, and that's like I can't tell you how to go about your journey, but I can tell you how to like start it. Like don't start with like a fixed mindset.
yeah. one other thing about high school is that your friend group is going to change a lot, and that's okay. Don't feel like you owe a friend group or certain people anything because you don't owe them anything. Like, if you want to hang out with other people because they make you feel better about yourself, then go hang out with those people. They're probably better for you.
I
Hmm.
I back Russell up with that 100%. Like, the number of stories I hear about, like, friend drama, it always happens in high school. I just always say, like, what do you want to do? Like, don't think about what they want you to do. Think about what you want to do for yourself, because it's not going to do you any better doing what they like want you to do, and that just makes them feel better, you know. And at the end of the day, like, you're the one that should be happy, not or like not you not making someone else happy for yourself.
Yeah.
Hmm. Going off of that, like I know I've seen a lot of people like when they change friend groups, the older friend like since they just not even change friend groups, they start hanging out with other people because it's fun. The other friend groups start calling them fake, but the thing is, you need to be real to yourself. You're not being fake, even if they call you that. You're being real by just going with your gut, like being honest with yourself and other people as well. And friend groups are gonna change as well, but in other you change overall in high school, you're gonna change a lot. I was a really shy kid, and I ended up being freaking ASU vice president. I could not have thought of that. Just try everything, and you never know where your heart's gonna go because like I play ultimate frisbee now. Like, what the hell is going on? So just try different clubs. Just see where your heart goes. Don't go in with like preconceived notions. And I've also been pretty blessed with my parents that weren't like didn't force me to do stuff. Like they obviously cared that I do good, whatever I do, but they really didn't tell me like what exactly I should be doing. So yeah, just go in with that attitude. Just try freshman year. I would say try everything a little bit, like even sophomore year, and you can slowly start getting involved in certain things and like quitting other things as you go.
Something that I thought of when you were talking was the 5-year thing. So, like, 5 years from now, when you're out of high school and you're in college and like you look back at high school and you're like, what even did I do? It's like, would you have regretted making that decision of staying with that group that you weren't happy in, or trying something new because that might have been a whole nother happier avenue that you could have taken and like had a better life?
I think one thing that I learned, and I mean, it's like pretty obvious, like, not everyone has the same parent. Like, one parent will have such a high expectation of you, one parent wouldn't really care what you do. But I feel like at the end of the day, like, everyone should have like a set goal for themselves and not what their parents set for them. And that's something you discover sometime in high school. Like, some people discover it freshman year, some people take all the way to senior year to discover that. But I think just like, don't let your parents' pressure or someone else's parents' pressure like get to you, you know.
So this is actually for your guys' class. You guys are going to college next year. Some of your class probably is not going to college next year. But what is the advice that you have for your guys' class entering college or taking a different path, just for their future? What's your guys' advice?
I think it's similar to like when you come into freshman year in high school, except it's like you have way more freedom. You have no parental supervision. You can like literally do anything. So I would say the same where you like try different things, see where you belong, and slowly start focusing on them. And like also self discipline is gonna come in to play a lot more now because you don't have teachers like pushing you as much, and that's gonna be tough for me especially. But I think we got this. Yeah.
I was just talking to someone about like how we're both going to college now. This is a crazy time. But she wanted to be, or she was deciding between two colleges, and she really wanted to go to this one college because she got into, or because she wants to be a nurse, and so she felt like she had a better chance of getting into the nursing program there for something. I honestly forget why, but she didn't like the campus there. She didn't really like feel the vibes, I guess, of that college, and so she really wanted to go to this other college. And but the thing about that other college is it's more risky because it's a higher prestige, And so she doesn't know if she'll be able to like handle the workload of it. She probably won't get into the nursing program there, and it's more expensive. But she loves the campus, the culture, and just everything else about that. So she was leaning towards that side. And so like the advice I gave her was that like going into college with like a goal ahead, like what someone else was saying before, it's like yeah, that's good, like that you know what you want to do, but once you're in college, your like world will expand because you'll see all these other different options that you could have done, because she doesn't even know if she actually wants to be a nurse all the way. But once you're in that program, then you'll feel stuck, like you have to finish that program. But there may be something else that she wants to do that's related to nursing that doesn't necessarily take that path that's set. And so I would say like go in with more of an open mind than you think you have, because you might.
And adding on to that, I think the college itself that you end up choosing, more than that, what your future depends on is how you are as a person and like what you do. Even though like I'll use my uncle as an example. He went to some like random ass tiny college in India, and like just some like small state. And he came to the U.S. He studied himself. He didn't go to a college here, and he took the bar. He became a really successful lawyer. And I think just by working hard, I don't think the college itself is going to make as much of a difference as people think going in the long run. Yeah.
Because it's you who makes that experience, not really.
Yeah.
It's all about mindset.
Yeah. I think going into that, like my advice to our class would be to stay like true to yourself and stay true to your roots. Like don't forget where you came from. Like like every time you go into someplace new, you're gonna meet new people. They're gonna try to influence you. And I mean, great, but never forget what you actually stand for, what you actually like, your starting point. Like, the thing make you who you are. And I think like when you get to the end, you're gonna see yourself, and you need to see what you saw before. Like what got you into that place in the first place. And I think that wouldn't be a problem for our class, because I know a lot of people in our class who like know who they are and know what they stand for.
Um, so you guys are all going to college, obviously. We've talked about that. And you talked about like for some people, like staying, like Theo said, staying true to yourself. For you guys, what age were you when you started kind of figuring out your interests, and how did that like let you determine what school you wanted to go to and what you wanted to study?
I know, like I was into science and technology in general, just as a kid. So whenever I would like get like a remote control car, I would just like take that shit apart and like just like look in the wires inside. I don't like doing that, and I didn't even think about that till much later. But I was just interested in that stuff since the start. Um, and I never really liked English and writing. So, but I still don't exactly know like what part of science and like tech that I want to do, or even if I want to do that, because plans always change. But I I applied as a chem major, and what got me was mostly my teacher sophomore year, Dr. Yeager. But we'll see. Yeah.
Okay, quick little story time. So I used to play basketball from like kindergarten to 8th grade, but I stopped enjoying playing basketball in like 4th grade. But I never like told anyone, because like my parents really wanted me to play, my siblings wanted me to play. I was kind of good, so like I didn't see a reason why to stop. My friends played, my coaches still wanted me to play, so I never said anything. And then in 8th grade, I realized that I really don't want to play in high school. Like I want to focus on other things, and like I just don't find it fun anymore. And so I was like trying to think of a way that to get out of playing for this one team over summer. And I was like, I'm pretty good at math. And so I decided to take a summer course instead. And so I told my parents that I wanted to take a summer course to get ahead. And they were like all for it. And so they did that. And I was like, oh, shoot, now I'm not going to play basketball because like time's conflicting and stuff. And they're like, oh, nards. And so I took the summer class at Merritt College. And it was a breeze. and I didn't realize that other people in my class were struggling because I thought that it just like came naturally to everyone. But it wasn't until I got into freshman year that I really started to enjoy like, mathematics. Like I don't even know what it is about it. I just read. So that's when I found like my passion for math, and so I've been like going for that my entire high school career, and I haven't regretted anything.
This question is a little hard for me because, like I said, my whole high school career, I wanted to pursue like a whole different area of life. And I was one of those people that had like a moment or like a long time of like not knowing where I wanted to go. And I think it was Darsh who was like, well, what are you really good at? And I was like, well, I don't know what I'm really good. Like, I can't even answer that question. And then he was like, well, you're really good at like talking to people and like giving advice. And I was like, well, you're lying to me. Like, that's not true. And I honestly like started to explore like more into that. And somehow I got to communications and I was like, okay, well, yay. And then the more I researched into it, the more I started to be like, wow, this really like suits me. Like this really fits what I do and what I believe in, I guess. And then I guess I've always had like if you're friends with me, like it sucks to like argue with me because like I never back down, I guess. And then ever since I was young, my parents would always be like, you should be a lawyer. And I was like, what? Like a lawyer? Like what? No. And then I never really considered that. And then now I'm like, wow, okay, this might actually be like what I want to do. And that takes a lot of like self I don't know the word, but like you reflect a lot on what you're good at and like what you want to do to like actually get there. But who knows? Like I'm a pretty indecisive person. I might go change it again in college. I don't know.
Yeah, I have a story about that. Like the reason I thought of that was because like I'm not gonna say names, but Thea thought this girl was cute, and like what happened was a week later, like he's friends with her, and then 2 weeks later they're going out to get donuts, and I'm like, dude, how did you even like, how do you even start? But he's just so good at talking to people, like he can build bonds just like that, and I was like, you know what, communications, but obviously like there's a lot of other majors that stem out of that. So,
Um, kind of
but what sucks is he's in the friend zone now.
So much.
definitely going a different path than that. Even though I said that like I knew what I wanted to study and stuff my freshman year, I had no like I'm a totally different person than I was freshman year. Like my values and morals have changed so much. Like freshman year, I went into freshman year thinking that like I'm gonna graduate, I'm gonna go to college, I'm gonna get a job, and like I'm gonna make money because I thought that money was like money got you happiness. But it wasn't until junior year really when I realized that like life isn't about that kind of stuff. Like that's super immature to think about. It's like you need to like put more effort into like the relationships you build with people, and like a happy life doesn't just come from money. And I didn't really realize that until junior year.
Um, is that true for you guys too, Darsh and Theo? Did you guys
Yeah,
discover more in junior year than the
yeah.
others?
I think junior year was the hump. You know, like that's where you like the hump that you want to go over, where you actually figure out what you want to do, and like I don't know, you just there's a lot of self discovery involved junior year. I don't know if you can like attest to that, Will. Like if you've done a lot of self discovery this year.
I started this junior year.
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
yeah. Because junior year, I did take a bunch of hard classes. Like I took AP Chem, and for me, even though it was really hard, I enjoyed it. So I think junior year it helps you either like. For me, it kind of backed up what I kind of thought that I like chemistry, and even though it was really difficult, put in a lot of work, I kind of hated it sometimes, but I really enjoyed the subject, and also like the bonds you build along like that, like with other people. It really showed me how more than study, I'm also like really into. I really cherish all the like relationships I have as well. But like showed me another thing that matters a lot to me. Even though it's like when people say it's not the destination, it's about the journey. It's like it was true for me.
It really is.
So I guess sort of moving away from that topic, kind of talking about, like the whole high school, your guys' high school careers ending. What are your guys' best memories from high school?
Okay. First thing that always comes to mind is Darsh. I think Darsh is my best memory. High school. Mainly because I always like kid with him and I always joke with him, but at the end of the day, he's the person who actually like changed my life and made it a lot better. I'm just like looking at. I don't want to. No, because like I've known Darsh since 8th grade, and then I got a lot closer to him sophomore year, and then um I I found like a leadership application, and I was like, okay, and then I gave it to Darsh, and he was like, okay, maybe you should keep this, and I was like, what do you mean? He was like, you should go for leadership, and I was like, what? And then I like it was like 3 weeks until the interviews, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna do it. And then um 2 days before the applications were due, Darsh was like, did you turn in your application yet? And I was like, no. I literally filled out that application the day before because Darsh kept pushing me and he kept saying, I really think you'd make a good fit. I like you should really do it. Like, you know, and I did it. And well, I mean, I'm here now, and I just thought that little push would like really change someone's life. And I always say this to like this was my senior advice to the leadership class in the beginning of the year. Find yourself a Darsh. Like Darsh is an all-around guy to like drive you around if you don't have your license, pick up something for you if you left something. He's just that guy to like, like make you a better person, I think. That's just that's my best memory of high school.
No, I'm just nice to people, so like they feel like they owe me something, and then I can make them.
And yeah, that's
that's definitely.
I'm a victim of that.
But anyway, my biggest memory, I know, like I remember, I guess where high school started for me. I remember just as for like at the end of 8th, I met Thomas Tran just dessert. This is where like the old and new lead class meet. He was 2 years older than me, and like he introduced me to everything, and we started talking about. He told me to join Ultimate Frisbee Club as a joke, and then I was like, wait, I actually play Ultimate Frisbee, and then I became really close friends, and we just kind of became best until he graduated. I mean, we're still really close. And he just showed me how to be like a 100% real person. Like he was never afraid to be himself, and we did a lot of fun stuff together. And he showed me how like high school is more than just like studies and all that. That's what I thought. And he's like the main reason I went after the stuff I'm passionate about, like Ultimate Frisbee and just prioritizing my relationships over studies. And also, like I was involved with like a senior prank pulled when I was a sophomore, so it's just a lot of memories I created with him as well. And then after he graduated, I kind of decided to just become Thomas for other people by just showing them like, hey, just go after what you're passionate about. And I was like a lot more extroverted after meeting him, and I decided to build more bonds. Like, that's how I reached out and pushed Theo to join leadership and just make more friends.
My best high school experience was probably my freshman year when the very first homecoming that I've had, because I actually participated in it, unlike Theo. And I did skit, and I've done skit for the rest of the years. And it was just really fun to do skit because I knew zero people going into high school. I came from a small Catholic school called St. Felicitas, and I didn't know anyone really going into Castro Valley. And it was such a big school because we only had 30 kids in our 8th grade class at St. Felicitas, and then going from that to like 3,000 kids, and it was really scary. And I didn't know a lot of people, but doing skit and like putting myself out there kind of showed me that like if you if you put yourself out there and treat people with respect, then like you'll be fine in the world, and like people will, I don't know, show you respect too.
So then I have one more pretty big question. Take as much time. If the timer runs out, we can always start a new one. The question is, what is the biggest lesson that you've learned from high school? I'm sure there's a lot, but just think of like your biggest ones. And how are you going to carry that with you to college?
I mean, the first thing that comes into mind has been brought up a lot in this, like today so far, and I think that's like, do what you love. And I'm not gonna go into it more because like we already talked about it a lot, but like do what you love, because it's like in the end it's gonna be you and yourself, and you're just gonna love. You're supposed to love what you're doing, and you're supposed to like just be happy overall, because I mean that's the goal of life, right? Like you're supposed to be happy. And I think, yeah, just do what you love. Like don't let other people influence you into doing something you're not going to like in the end.
Yeah. I would just say be yourself. It's not worth it to try to be someone that you think you want to be.
I would say just be nice to people and try to like work for just more than yourself. Because at the end of the day, I think what matters most is like overall in life in general, just like the bonds you build and like the memories you make with other people. Because we're social beings. So yeah, just do that.
Yeah, I actually lied. I have one more question. What are you guys gonna miss the most about high school?
You guys.
Yeah, no, honestly, like that's
yeah,
literally what I was gonna say.
people.
Like, I'm gonna miss people like you guys who would just make my day. Like the amount of times Russell made my day this year is like I can't even count it, because
Crazy.
he could say like one thing. Like he was saying this earlier, like you could say one thing and he would make your whole day, he would make your whole week. And I mean that's Russell for you, but like just that's I love it. That's what I'm gonna miss the most.
Yeah, no, what got me out of bed every morning was like knowing that I'm going to see like all my friends and everything at school, because it wasn't the schoolwork, because this senior year was but like the people is what made me want to go back, because it seemed like we were all just going through high school together, and we were all along for the party.
Yeah, especially even if you look at like classes, you're in a hard class, like you might be suffering, but you're suffering together. I say this a lot, like when I'm giving advice about this hard classes. Like it's the people that are with you during good and bad times. That's what I'm gonna miss the most.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So that was the final question. I would like to thank you guys so much for doing this with me. Hopefully this is a pretty cool experience for you guys. And hopefully some of your guys' class will be able to watch this and kind of learn more about like your guys' perspective and just like what the seniors think in general. I'm sincerely going to miss all of you guys and your class. I know that you guys had probably one of the most hyped classes that I've ever seen so far in my high school career. So yeah, do you guys have any final thoughts? Or
if any seniors are watching this, we have been having like multiple meetings, multiple like Zoom meetings, talking about what we can do to like make up for these lost events. And when we do, and when this is all over, we're gonna have a lot of events. Probably not a lot of events, but like we're gonna have events that will like make the senior class feel like a senior class again. And we hope that you guys would show up, because I know you guys miss it too.
I'm still looking for a roommate at Irvine, so if you know anyone.